the system we're using here is we've got the intermediate line, what I've just said just gets underneath the surface. We've got a 9-foot leader, and where we join a bit of tippet, we leave one of the tags off and we tie on another fly, which is, I've got a little damsel fly, which you can imagine would be here, little damsels and mud eyes and things like that. And like a couple of feet behind that, I've got what we call a magoo, or a variant of a magoo. And it's got a bright orange head on that, so it's going to be very noticeable, but it's still going to have that action that you would expect from a damsel. They're just going to see it. And trout, like most things, become very curious as well. So half the battle is getting them to see your fly, and then they're a bit short on hand, so they quite often just need to grab it with their mouth, and then it's too late. Or move it in like a darting motion. You can imagine like a little minnow or a damsel. I don't really care which one they eat, as long as it's one of those. And it is very important too, when you are fishing these flies, you strip them in, you retrieve them the whole way. Particularly with an electric motor, you can catch these fish literally right at the boat. Fish your flies completely to the boat, and you'll be surprised at how many more fish you'll catch that way. Yep. So we're in magnificent Lake Wendouree, right in the heart of Ballarat. It's an incredible lake in itself, but an incredible fishery, literally surrounded by houses. And there's a rowing centre right over there where they had the 1956 Olympics. I've got a 10-foot 6-weight glide, and the 10-footer is ideal for lake fishing, exactly like what we're doing here. There's plenty of browns and rainbows in this lovely lake, and it's ideal for like there's got a bit of a jump on there. Ideal for floating with the wind there, and just working those flies in before we hit into these reeds. But the aquatic life here is amazing, like with the amount of subsurface insects and mud-eye hatches here that you would honestly, you couldn't see probably any better mud-eye hatches anywhere else in the world. She can be a little bit cold at times. We're in the start of December, and it's a little bit chilly at the moment, but trout, they really don't care, because they like the cold, and they're wet anyway, so they don't mind if it rains. You can fish a little bit heavier with tippets as well. When you get an environment like this, there's a little bit of chop in the water, you can fish quite heavy. I'm using 9.5 at the moment. There's no point with the net, you know, duck diving to try and get him. We want him up near the surface so we can slip that net underneath him and safely get him on board. Stop it. Play nice, play nice. Here we go. Oh, perfect. And we've got a nice, lovely brown from Lake Wendouree, and absolute stunning, absolute stunning. And it's just, he's fit as buggery. That's incredible, the depth on there, and you can see like how wide he is along that back there. And that's just from being in an environment where there's lots of food, and he's certainly been gorging himself. So that's a good healthy fishery. Now it always pays, when you are going to release your fish, to keep an eye on him. And he probably needed a little bit more reviving than what we first ended up. But you just got to watch where you let them go, and just see, make sure they're upright. Sometimes they just need a little bit more coaxing, and because you want that fish to get released unharmed, because that's a lot of enjoyment you can get out of like catching a fish like that. And I'm sure by us putting him back, then somebody else can come and catch him as well, and have an awful lot of fun also. So if you're going to release fish, just take that little bit of time to make sure that they're as healthy as can be, and somebody else can come and catch him as well. When he's ready, like, he'll swim out of that net. Like, he looks almost good to go now. And off he goes. Much better. And you feel a little bit happier with yourself too, if you can make sure that you're releasing them in really good condition, that somebody else can come and get him. So, yeah, it's pretty good. She's been pretty hard, been a bit cold, a bit windy and a bit blustery, and we've been casting, picking up a bit of weed, and you get a bit despondent at times, and then you get a fish like that, 5-pounder in Lake Wendouree, and you go, that's why you go fly fishing. Makes it all worthwhile, all worthwhile.